Hello, hello, hello. This is going to be for January the 12th, 2024. So, we're going to see what the aspects are that we're going to go into today. We start out with Mars in Capricorn, as you can see right here, at 5 degrees. And it is trying Jupiter at 5 degrees and 50 minutes in as well. Oops, I forgot to change the thing. So sorry about that. Do it again. We start out at 5:41 in the morning. Okay, we have Mars, as you can see right here, 5 degrees, 50 minutes in. Okay, and it's trying Jupiter, as you can see, was conjunct with Mercury, and Mercury is being conjunct by the ascending. So this is coming up, all right, right before sunrise in the morning. The body reacting to the mind, or the mind awakening the body. But it has to do with Jupiter being at 5 degrees as well. And the energies or the aspects to that is, again, the T-square, same one as before, trying to get, the universe is trying to get us out of illusions to wake up and face reality of what's happening. This is starting Thursday. It's going to be ruled by Jupiter all day. So, it's a good time, even though the moon is in a square because of Pluto to Jupiter, and Saturn being in a sextile because of this energy with Mars and Mercury trying over to Saturn, says, hey, you got to wake up. So our mind's kind of starting to become alert of something here being activated. And then there's the sextile from Saturn over to Jupiter as well. So we have a trine, a square, and a sextile. So there is some challenges to getting sort of in a mood, or we may have a mental attitude we don't want to wake up, or a sleep disruption that we may be having to deal with as well. So I know I'm like, Lord, I just want to sleep. I mean, I know that feeling because, the day here is ruled by Jupiter, the night being ruled at this time by the moon, because it's a new moon activating, and the hour is Mars. 23rd hour is Mars. It's only 24 hours in a day, right? It comes from sunrise to the next sunrise. So it's telling you this is the last hour of that 24 hours of the day, of the old day, and your mind's being activated to, hey, wake up. There's going to be some changes, and you might wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Who knows? I don't know. There may be some difficulty here. Because of the moon's interaction with Pluto. Both of them being at 29 degrees, and it was really feeling that power of energy, emotionally, of this new moon that's, happening. So, again, like I said, got to get back to the grindstone. And then we have the ascending that's coming here. Vista being in opposition to the ascending. Mercury being in opposition to Vista. Got to activate that mind. You got to get busy and start putting that effort in that you want to work towards something here. And then we go at 7 a.m. By this time, the moon is already in Aquarius. But now it's at 5 degrees in Aquarius. It's squaring Jupiter in Taurus at 550. And we also have Mars here as well at 5 degrees. We still have the T-square, but this time it's all with the apex being over here toward the moon. Your mood, your values. How do you feel? There's an opposition from in the world. There's an opposition from Jupiter over to the midheaven. At 728. It's like trying to maybe even get yourself motivated here. Because this may be a difficult day. Again, the same T-square that way. You know, it's how you feel. Do you feel very optimistic here? But then there's that energy. You got to be authentic. Can't just go out there in society and just, and say, okay, here I am, world. Because these T-squares are difficult things that you got to overcome. And it's still that what other one, and then we've got the trapezoid. Okay? And this is dealing with the midheaven, where you're at this point, dealing with Mercury. Activating that mind of, what you want to get accomplished here. Only thing I see that's different in this one, other than Jupiter being, in opposition, is that we have this trine from Mars over to Jupiter. Y'all give me a minute. Okay, I had to get me some water. Whew. Remember, sextiles are always about activating your thoughts. And, your mind telling your body, you need to move. You need to get going here. You got to be optimistic. Look at the day and I'm going to make these changes. I'm going to do something here. And yeah, there may be some opposition, with Mercury to my plans. I got to maybe relook at my plans, what the vision is, what the goal is, what I aspired for here. And I see with the moon squaring Jupiter and squaring the midheaven, where you at right now? Are you in alignment with what the plan is that you have? Do you have the skills, or is there something here that you need to address or make some adjustments? Do you need to learn something here? Do you need to go back over something that you've already done, that you're still working through it? Because now we're talking about a lot that having to do with air. We're talking about the South Node. Okay? We're talking about the moon. And we're talking about Vista. You know, there could be this sudden change that may happen with the only thing that's still retrograde right now is um is Uranus. That there's, you know, sudden changes may come up that you're going to have to rework through something here. Relook at where things are at right now at this point in time. Is it possible? What is the opposing force here? Where you're at right now in your thought processes of what you're seeking here? Does it have to do with people? Does it have to do with other people's values? You know, are you sharing the same values with others? Or do you need to change it? Maybe it's the people you're around that's not giving you the inspiration, or they don't have the same skills, the talents, or whatever to accomplish the goal, to help you achieve something here. Is, you know, who are we getting with? We still have Mars at 5 degrees, we have the moon at 5 degrees, and we have Jupiter at 5 degrees. So that's all about change. Something's got to give. You know, it's almost like the tension here is kind of building in the thoughts and in the communications. You may not be around people who aspire toward the same thing. You may be facing these oppositions from others. The we to the self, you know, to the I. To accomplish something here. And then later on, I mean, this goes on all day long. From, put it this way, it starts about when you first start waking up. And then it, you know, you get out the door at 7:28 or whatever time you need to be moving on, and you're struggling with something here. And then this goes on from 7:28 in the morning till 11:12 at night. So the moon being in Aquarius, it's to move 10 degrees. See where it's moved from. So you're kind of sitting here thinking, I mean, Jupiter hasn't moved much. Mars has moved 1 degree. Mercury's moved 1 degree. I haven't paid much attention to Venus, how much it moved. But then I'm looking at still the same thing. Go back where there's the trapezoid there, and then the 2 T-squares. Then we get into that final nighttime, well, you know, 11 o'clock on the East Coast, we, you know, kind of settled down for the evening, with the moon in 15, and it's sextiling Chiron. You know, the moon is in a sextile with Chiron. It's also in a sextile with Venus. It's something about, again, with the self and what you're seeking here in your values. Because again, there's, you know, you got the T-square still with that same thing going on. Okay, that's been going on and on and on. It's like, dang, will it ever stop? What is it that you're trying to do here that you're struggling with to overcome? Then we have the Yod, which is leaving something to faith and destiny. Leaving things that the success is in faith. Having faith in something here that you're seeking. because Venus is sextiling the South Node, the past, and there's quincunxes to a sudden change. Venus to Uranus and Uranus to the past. And the moon is in a square with Uranus. So there's some kind of adjustment that needs to be made here. And you've got to have the faith in something. And then we have the trapezoid that happens. All this energies at this moment in time. We got the trine here, and we got a trine here from the moon over to the South Node, from Venus over to the Chiron. Are you working on healing something? Something about yourself or something in relationship with others? Maybe there's some conflict going on. I don't, that you're not getting with the right people. And there's an opposition with Chiron over to the South Node. When there's an opposition, it's almost like a tug of war. These energies are just fighting against one another. And this is where Mercury becomes really important, because it's at 29 degrees. And it's sextiling that South Node. So it's activating that Mercury energy is really, really strong right now. So there's something with the past that's still dealing with, and what values, your values the same as someone else you're dealing with here? Or is there not the same values? And and you may say, well, this ain't healthy. It's not healthy for the future. I can't deal with something here, because we got a lot of quincunxes going on here. And it's like the divine is showing you something that whatever you're trying to accomplish and what you're focused on, you may be dealing with the wrong people to achieve that sort of goal. They may not be going in the same direction you're going, and it can cause some issues. I mean, we have Saturn in a quincunx, which these are difficult energies. It's like there is no give and take, but there's got to be some sort of adjustment that needs to be made. And are you willing to make that adjustment? Are you willing to give something up that you value, or are you gonna give up your values because of someone else, because of what they seek? They want something from you, and are you willing to give up what you value, or something of your own values or your own self-worth, for someone else because of what somebody else is seeking? I mean, that would be like somebody wanting a relationship or seeking a relationship with somebody, but you don't have the same values. You're not going in the same direction. Oh, but just because they want to have a relationship, or I want to have a relationship with them, they've got to give up their values because they want to have a relationship with me. Really? That's not love, folks. That is not love. If you have to sacrifice your values just to be in a relationship with somebody, that relationship is not for you. That's trouble. That's going to bring trouble in the future, because that will bring resentment. Because you've got all this energy here with these quincunxes, and you're going to have to make a decision. Am I going to, that would be like, let's say somebody wants something, in love with, they want a relationship with you and they want to get married. But if you get married to them, then you're not able to focus on what your plan is or your goal is for the future. And I've heard people say this, um, my girlfriend wants to get married, but I've got where a goal I have, a plan I have, and I'm not ready to get married. I'm not ready to have kids. But yet that's what they want. Are you going to sacrifice your plan and your goals and make that decision and have you're going to have the courage to make a decision. If this is not what you want and you're not ready to give up your goals and your plans, you need to be honest with that person and say, I'm sorry, but I that's not for me. That's not what my plan and goal is. And I'm not willing, I think I feel this way when during the time that Pluto entered into Capricorn. I think a lot of us was just going along with things. With what other people wanted, just to make other people happy. And if you had no goals and no aspirations, then it was fine with you. You just went along with the crowd. It's like, everybody's standing on the bridge and everybody says, oh, we're going to count to 3 and we all going to jump. But there's rocks down there, And just because everybody else is going to jump, you're going to jump and break your neck or break your leg or permanently damage yourself because you just went along with the flow. I think a lot of us was just going on along with the flow for all these years, and we're really, again, here we go with this woke and awake. I think it's the ones that were like woke to some stupid things. People are starting to wake up and say, I'm not into that. I don't want to forfeit my. It'd be like getting involved with a group because Aquarius is about groups, and and you go and get involved in these groups, and they're out not doing the right thing. They're not real, It was like that summer of love, everybody was going out there just getting together and they were attacking these stores and attacking these buildings. They were burning stuff down. They were doing this. They were doing that. And they were just a woke society that just like, oh, we're going to go do this. We're going to go do that with no thought of what the consequences are in their future, of how their actions at that time was going to affect them in the future. And a lot of like the colleges, you notice that a lot has been said about, these kids going to law school and stuff. And law firms are not hiring them because of their woke attitude and agenda. No, we don't want that in our company. We're not going to cater to you. Some will. There'll be some shady ones that will, but then there'll be others that are really reputable companies that just like, no. They look at your Facebook pages, they look at your Twitter feeds, they look at all this stuff. And we got another one here. We got 2 of them, it's dealing with Saturn. And what is Saturn? Saturn is about the laws. It is about structure. And there's something that will be coming up here about society and people's actions and where they're at. And, If you have an attitude or something here and, you don't meet the same values of the company or something like that, then you're out. People are waking up to this, and then maybe this is where people begin to look at groups and things like this, and they're like, I don't want to get involved in that. I'm not with that plan. Or, somebody wanting to get married and you're not with the plan. Somebody wanting to have children, you're like, no, I'm not ready. It's not what I want right at this time in my life. I don't know. Or some people, they're older in life and they just don't want to raise kids. They've raised theirs and they just don't want to raise somebody else's. They don't want to raise grandkids. They don't want that sort of thing. It's not feeding into their plans and what their goals are. Or, people have let relationships go that maybe they wish they had not let go. They really found that there was security there. There was real true love there. I mean, I'm not going to say people won't be coming back. There may be a lot of them that may come back because they realize, hey, I screwed up. I got involved with all the wrong people. I took life for granted. I listened to what other people said, and I just went along with on that bridge and stood up on the side of that cliff and said, yeah, let's do it, It's like some people get up there and, yeah, I want, on my bucket list, I want to do a bungee jump. And then they get up there and like, no, I don't think so. I don't know if I want to take this risk. Because everybody else is doing it don't mean I got to do it. I think this is where I'm saying that Pluto at this time, its power is to say, really pushing it about being authentically who you should be. You're not like everyone else. And you have to define who you are. Where do you want to be? What is it you want to accomplish? You're not out there. You weren't born in this world to accomplish everybody else's goals. Sure, you may have been meant to meet someone because we were never brought in this world to live life alone. It was just to meet someone and have the same common goals and to achieve it together and work together. And some people have to learn that lesson. It's a hard lesson to learn. And sometimes people mess up and screw up relationships because they followed a group that they shouldn't have been following. And so now they got to learn their lesson. And I will say Mars is exalted right now in Capricorn. Mercury's in its detriment right now because it's seeking something. It's seeking an understanding of a purpose. What is my purpose? What is my goal? What is it I aspire to be here? What is it I'm meant to be? A lot of people are looking for their purposes in life right now. They get at a certain age, and I would say about every 7 years. You ever heard that 7-year itch? People change. And then the next 7 years, they change again. And then maybe they didn't learn some lessons and they just got more involved and they got worse instead of getting better. We got to instill that in the children. Just because somebody else says you're going to do it, you going to do it? No. You're unique. Every person has a purpose in this world. Not to be followers. We're each a unique individual. Sure, people got faults. But if the values are kind of the same, you can work through those faults that others have. You can make some adjustments. You have that will give and take. You can work through it. But if you're dealing with someone that does not share the same values you have, it ain't going to work. You're going to struggle. And anytime, I'm going to tell you this right now, anytime you deal with narcissists, you can forget it. If it's all about them and they don't want to make no concessions, they don't want to communicate, and you bring something up and they'll say, well, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, well, then it's time for you to say, okay, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to work this out. Fine. Bye. You need to go. And I need to go. Because communication and thoughts make the world go round. And everybody learns to need to communicate. And everybody's got to make compromises in some form. And when you're dealing with people who are selfish and all they want to think about is themselves, and they can't even give one little inch, or they can't see something from somebody else's point of view, we all got to make that decision, and we got to have the courage to make it. And if we have to restructure our lives and make some changes, then we have to do it. But we can't just tell people they got to give their dreams up either. You can't give up all your dreams and your goals and what you aspire. You know, you got to have that person that's there supporting you just as much as you would support them. And if you're the one that's always doing the giving and you're not getting anything back out of it, you'll know. Believe me, you'll know. You'll know that this is not for you. So anyway, that's kind of what I got for you. It looks like today is going to be that long, long day of figuring something out here. Um, and if you got the courage to sit there and restructure your life and really, you know, to accomplish what you need to accomplish, and you can stand there and say, you know, hey, this ain't for me. We're going in two different directions. I've said that to other people before in the past, you know, it'll never work. We're two different people. We don't aspire for the same things. We don't have the same values. And sometimes we learn those lessons. Don't let yourself get trapped into something, folks, okay? When it's you're always doing the giving, you're always doing the compromising. Nobody wants to sit down and, you know, work things out and this sort of thing and realize what they're doing. Then it's time to say you can't be in my life anymore. And that's what you should do, because nobody is supposed to be in this world living a miserable life and being depressed and staying hungry for affection or love. If you can't give it, then you need to move on. Don't pull somebody into your garbage. And when you are pulled into somebody's garbage, you need to wake up and say, no, I'm not living in this. This is not where I want to be. Because all they will do is destroy your world and destroy your life. You'll live in regret later on, saying, why did I waste all these years of my life with somebody that can't even communicate or is refusing to give an inch? It's not worth it. And I'll quote from Simone, one of the greatest women comedians that I feel like from her. She has said one time, she said, I had the world's uh, biggest lion king. He was a king of lions. So, and she knew it, but, at that time, I guess, she was willing to put up with it, but then after a while, it gets old. And you got to say, okay, enough, done. And don't let yourself be that lion king. Quit lying to yourself as well. Okay? So, anyway, thank you for joining me on this, and I will see you all later. Bye for now.